Ahoy there! It's a sweltering Friday, even in the relatively cool climes abutting the bustling metropolis of Kathmandu. After a few cool splashes at a pool teeming with diverse people, the blue water feels like home. Two young boys, most probably in their teens, approach this greenhorn and want to know how to swim, even as a giant among humans dives in deep waters nearby with a huge splash. Processing this youth's inquisitiveness takes time, as ears fail to believe that what they just heard. These guys must be kidding, making fun of a late learner, right? After making sure that they are not, this stranger to blue water replies, drawing a bit from his experiences, which includes a near drowning incident. Try short distances first. In shallow sections, aim for something that you can clutch on to stay afloat. If you feel shorn of energy, move your limbs. Do not swallow water. Shout help if you are drowning. That is what this sapien did in such a situation, and here he is to tell the tale. The wisest advice comes last, as always. Learn with professionals, not a newbie. After almost 3 hours of churning the water, it's time to head home. Alas, a dear holiday is gone and just one more day remains. What a heartbreak. This is a picture from Prime Minister Dahal's earlier visit to New Delhi. So let's continue with the presentation. The summit of the future. 3 hours into the water, and so much had changed outside. Our Prime Minister has an invite to participate in the summit of the future from none other than the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. Per media reports, Hana Singh Hamdi, the United Nations resident coordinator in Nepal, delivered Guterres' invite to Prime Minister Dahal. The Prime Minister said he was about positive about attending the United Nations organized summit taking place in New York this September, while expressing gratitude to the UN chief for visiting Nepal and internationalizing Nepal's concerns and interests. The reports quoted Singer Hamdi, the UN resident coordinator, as saying that Nepal should take part in the summit for its role in climate change mitigation. What on earth is this summit, by the way? David Stephen, a senior fellow at the UN Foundation, knows better. He writes in a March 26 post on the Foundation's homepage, as part of a monumental effort to restore global cooperation, to reset global cooperation, the United Nations will host hundreds of world leaders, policymakers, experts, and advocates in September at the Summit of the Future. The ultimate goal, to rethink what multilateralism means in a rapidly changing world. Stephen writes, choose a country, any country, and you will likely find the same trends. Trust in public institutions, trust in public institutions is plummeting, wealth inequality is on the rise, and societies are increasingly polarized. Thus, he sets the context for the summit of the future. If nothing else, citizens of the world are united behind one grim truth. The status quo is falling us all. That's why the stakes for the United Nations Summit of the Future are high. Simultaneously hailed as a once-in-a-generation opportunity and criticized for being the right summit at the wrong time, this high-level event in New York City is expected to produce not one, but three international frameworks. What are they? The Pact for the Future, currently available as a zero draft, the Global Digital Compact, and the Declaration on Future Generations. Let's visit the Big Apple. This picture is from the United Nations website. The Big Apple beacons, doesn't it? It's a beautiful city. So this is from where the invite has come for Prime Minister Daha. Anyway, it appears that the Prime Minister's office is for avid travelers. If nothing, like you can have a lot of fun traveling around the world. That is what I think. So the invite, let's continue with the Summit of the Future. Let's hope that this summit, this is my take. Now, the Stevens writings portion is over. This is now my commentary. Let's hope that this summit helps avert the world body's transformation into a League of Nations 2.0, given its inability to restore peace to conflict zones around the world, including in Gaza and the war-torn territories of Russia and Ukraine. Let's also hope that the revived world body becomes able to create a world where all nations are indeed equal in terms of national sovereignty, instead of the big five, the five permanent UN Security Council members, and the self-proclaimed messiahs of the global south. Back to Nepal from the Big Apple, the seat of the United Nations headquarters. Even an hour is a long time in Nepali politics, as so much can change in a matter of minutes. Governments can come and go in a jiffy. Madhya province has seen it, so has Gandaki, and so has Koshi. Come September, who knows what will happen in Singadarbar? Will this government still be in place? Let's leave the future to the stars for now. Still, an invite from foreign source is very important. It shows Nepal is still relevant in this age of geostrategic push and pull as the largest troop contributor to the United Nations sponsored global peace efforts as the chair of the least as the chair of the least developed countries and a member of the Global South, among others. So it is very natural for our Prime Minister to be willing to go to New York for the summit come September. A new practice. Before September, our Prime Minister has promptly agreed to an important foreign visit in response to an impromptu invite. The invite from the near source of New Delhi is for attending the swearing in ceremony of Narendra Modi, the third time Prime Minister of India. He has done a hat trick, but with a very diminished presence in the House this election. Per media reports, presidents of Sri Lanka and the Maldives, the vice president of Seychelles, and prime ministers of Bangladesh and Mauritius and Bhutan will also attend the ceremony. But this hasty invite and a prompt response from Nepal's prime minister has raised eyebrows. It has raised some uncomfortable questions. Even for a prime minister who has very comfortable relations with Nepal's southern neighbor. Swearing in of a democratically elected prime minister, it is an internal affair of a country, isn't it? The then prime ministers, Messrs. Sushil Koirala and KP Sharma Oli, nonetheless, attended Prime Minister Modi's swearing in as Prime Minister in 2014 and 2019, respectively. But then, is high-level participation in such shows necessary, given that A, such visits hardly have any agenda on our part, and even if we do, even if we have agendas, there's no chance whatsoever. Even if we have our agendas, there is no chance whatsoever of getting those agendas addressed. In a democratic world where all countries are equal in terms of sovereignty, such a function should have no resemblance. In a democratic world where all countries are equal in terms of national sovereignty, such a function should have no resemblance whatsoever with the coronation of a Chakravarti Samrat of some sort of emperor's crowning ceremony? Or should it have like resemblance with those past traditions in this modern era of democracy and human rights and equality in terms of national sovereignty, regardless of the size and might of countries. What kind of precedents does this impromptu invite and a prompt visit set in our bilateral relations that are already far from equal and just in plain speak? While navigating the choppy waters of diplomacy, our Prime Minister has the advantage of a hindsight while he seeks to lead the country to the future. What do you see on that looking glass as you travel ahead? The 1950s Peace and Friendship Treaty, the Pussy Agreement of 1954, the Gandak Agreement of 1959, and the Mahakali Treaty of 1996. Figure these instruments, these legal instruments, uh, they figure as danger signs, along with a slew of agreements reached in the name of sharing of rivers. A newbie in a crowded swimming pool consisting of fellow newbies, all-rounders, butterflyers, backstrokers, sprinters, distance swimmers, and open water swimmers. This scribbler, this presenter requests the PM to navigate the choppy waters of diplomacy with all caution. With this, we have come to the end of this presentation. I request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Your support means an awful lot to us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.